Hi, my name is Hirsch Tepedia. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Allstacks, and we're going to talk about how we do R&D cost capitalization using Allstacks. So really quickly, what is R&D cost capitalization? So at a high level, this is an accounting practice where R&D costs are treated as investments instead of expenses. This practice dates back quite a ways to things like manufacturing, but in the world of software, think of this as what did it cost to deliver your particular release of software? This includes things like the expenses on payroll, hosting expenses, things like that, that are used to actually build the software that you would treat as one releasable chunk. The reason why this matters is that this can benefit your organization when you could better match when your expenses are incurred versus revenues that are expected. So for example, if you were to build a piece of software, maybe in Q4 of this year, expecting it to start selling in Q1, then there's a lag of when you incurred the expense to when you actually started generating revenue. And so when you treat it as an investment, it allows you to have the cost sit on the balance sheet, and then that cost gets amortized over time. And when you do that, that allows you to match better to the revenues. So it can be a big impact to the valuation of the company. The problem is these costs are not very straightforward to measure because it's not strictly aligned to the cost of the materials as it would in, say, like a manufacturing environment. And so it's difficult to measure in software development. It also needs to be very consistent. And because the largest cost is often cost of the people building the software, this typically ends up requiring very tedious time tracking. Often that gets pushed down to the developers themselves. And it can actually make things more expensive. You have people spending time figuring out how much time did they spend on a project instead of spending their time actually developing the project. So what we do with Allstacks is we automate your R&D cost capitalization calculations. And so the way we do that is we pull the data from all these different system of record developer tools. So think of things like Jira and GitHub and Circle CI or any competitors of those products, where what we're doing is we're analyzing the work that the people are doing, attributing it to the right projects based on the processes you already have in place. And from that, we're generating these accounting ready documentations of capitalizable work. These are delivered as spreadsheets that are compatible with how your accounting team already wants this data. We also have ways to monitor this capitalization allocations on live dashboards instead of Allstacks. You can pull this data as frequently as you'd like. Typically, organizations pull it monthly or quarterly, and they can also pull it for any historical period of time if you need to reconcile something. So this really allows you to eliminate time tracking and manual reporting inside your organization. So what I'm going to do now is switch over and show you a demo of what this looks like inside of the spreadsheet and how it's calculated. So what we have here is an example of the type of data we'll extract from your systems. And so if you look at the bottom, we have green, yellow, and red tabs. So the green is the output, the red is the input, and the yellow is where you can make adjustments if you need to. And so what we've done is we've pulled all the work, organized it by person, the action they've taken, the number of actions. We can use any kind of estimation method you'd like. If you use straight issue count, story points, or even hours if you track hours. And then what we'll do is we'll key it to some indicator in your system that you can specify. So it could be a capitalizable field, it could be all epics or initiatives, it could be certain releases. However you set it up, we'll align the data to that. And then that allows us to calculate what is the capitalizable rate of work. These yellow tabs are where you can do kind of overrides or checks. So if something's been misaligned, you can change these tags here. And what the commit dates allow us to do is really make sure that this work is only being captured in the active development period, because the capitalizable work typically doesn't include planning work or maintenance work. So you really just want the active development work. And so we do that by constraining the activity to between the first and last commit on this project. And then from that, it turns into this cascade where we take that work, align it to the dates and the people, and then eventually we get a per contributor and per project view of what was the capitalizable work. And so from a per contributor perspective, we have a few options. You have the names of the folks. If you want to, you can go ahead and input the income levels. What is your burden rate? So think of this as what is the cost in addition to the base salary, like your benefits and social security wages, things like that you're paying. And then overhead rate. This is the percentage of time that folks are not actively writing code. Most companies have a aggregate overhead rate of meeting time, non-capitalizable time, things like that they use as an adjustment. The number of active weeks for a person inside the company. This typically we look at it as 52 weeks in a year. If for some reason you need to override that, you can. This will then calculate the compensation total, the work rate, capitalizable compensation rate, and then actually the dollar capitalizable compensation. That's on an aggregate basis, but we'll also deliver that on a monthly basis as well. So depending on how your accounting team wants to work, if they'd like to use this from just a straight percentage rate and then take that data and import it into their own analysis, they can do that. Or if they want it fully end to end, they can leverage the calculations here to drive the actual dollar value. So with that, you can quickly deliver these spreadsheets fully automated. You don't have to ask anyone to keep track of time. And you can deliver this out to your organizations on a regular basis in a highly auditable way. We've worked with large accounting firms and also heads of finance at large public companies like Datadog to develop this methodology. And we've found it to be generally accepted by these folks as a better alternative to timesheets. That's also a lower overhead for your engineering team. If you'd like to try it out, just contact us at info@allstacks.com. You can contact me at hirsch.tapia@allstacks.com or reach out to your customer success rep and we can get you set up at any time.